Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Zappy here, back again with Hunter x Hunter. We're on episode 44, and since the last episode, things have ramped up like very quickly in a very short space of time, because the auction barely even got underway, and some of the Phantom Troupe members mowed all of the fucking guys that were in there down. Beze is presumed dead, though I still don't know yet. We also got introduced to these. Well, we didn't really get introduced to them more than we were told about these like 10 dons, all sort of, I guess, like the head honchos, like they're in charge of the different sort of different territory around the whole world, and then they have these sort of servants that they call upon called shadow beasts, basically like the best of their like sort of outfit, and yeah, they're called shadow beasts. So a few of them, actually 4 of them, have shown up to take care of this problem. Worm, Rabbit Dog, Leech, and Porcupine as well. So I guess, unless we're just deciding to go see what, Gon and Killua and Leorio are doing, I imagine this next episode's about to kick off with a fight. So exciting stuff, because I mean, I don't know exactly to what degree the Shadow Beasts, like how good of fighters they are. I imagine they're pretty good, and it'd be cool to see, like, we've only just basically last episode was when we saw exactly what the Phantom Troupe were capable of. So it's going to be interesting to see like these two sort of groups like go against each other and see who comes out on top, because we haven't really had a lot of sort of fighting like across the board of the show, if you know what I mean. It's mostly been like very a bit more like personal, like one-on-one type fighting and stuff, but like it's nice to see the sort of extended world, like when you get like this world building and having a look at this, like the group of like the Phantom Troupe and exactly how dangerous they actually are. I'll also be interested to see exactly like who is the better fighters, like out of the entire group itself. I mean, they said that Uvo, physically he is the strongest, but I mean, there's ways around going up against someone who's just nothing but physically strong, right? So it's going to be interesting to see like how each like member like deals with certain situations and whatnot. And the same goes for the Shadow Beast as well. I mean, I don't know how how each of them fight, like how each of them's going to fight. It's going to be interesting. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else I really need to talk about. Oh yeah, there was one thing that somebody did remind me of, the reasoning why the Nostrade family like thought that something was going to go down, and they had certain things in place to take like the items out of the safe and whatnot, was because that was linked to what Neon was doing with the reading, right? What's it called? The fortune telling thing, right? So yeah, thanks for reminding me of that, because I did actually forget about that. I should really like go back through my notes and stuff before like episodes, just so I'm always clear. But yeah, that's all I've got. So yeah, don't think there's anything else to really talk about. We're just going to get in episode 44 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 44. And that was nuts. It was not what I expected at all. But like, it's interesting. You see, I'm a bit sort of confused, because I thought that with there being 10 dons, I thought each of the dons would basically get their best their best fighter, and then that would become a Shadow Beast. So I thought that maybe it was the case that there was only 10 Shadow Beasts, but I think I might be wrong, because when Worm turned out to actually be alive, I don't know if he is anymore, or he just got like enough to call back and basically tell them what happened, that he said would basically need all of the Shadow Beasts left. And if 4 of them have already been taken down, then if the theory is that there's only 10 Shadow Beasts and there's only 6 left, still 6 wouldn't be enough. You know what I mean? And that's based upon, I guess, the idea that all of the other shadow beasts are relatively close or like the same level as these four here, but that's not how I saw it going at all. Just Uvo just taking them all on 1v4, and he took them all out. He still got hit, but that was entirely based upon basically surprise, right? It was all not knowing what they were capable of. If Uvo knows exactly what's coming, then he's tough. Like everything that basically got him, whether it was the porcupine guy inserting his hands, getting stuck to him, Worm coming out the back, grabbing him through the floor, the rabbit dog, I guess using his speed and biting him, and then Kurapika obviously using the chains and pulling him away. Everything was completely out of the blue and unexpected. And obviously, he wasn't expecting any of that to happen. So crazy. And the fact is that I completely underestimated the guy when they clearly pointed out that like out of Uvo he's the most physically strong. In my head, I completely underestimated him, because generally in other shows, if you have like a group of people, or you have like the I don't know, like group of superheroes or whatever, super villains, whatever the case is, if you have the guy that's generally physically strong, just as sort of like a if you're going by like normal class-based rules, then generally like that's their forte, and then everything else that they aren't as good, you know what I mean? And there's sort of ways to maneuver around that and get away from it. But like I completely underestimated like his ability to do ultimately like just different things, like shouting incredibly loud, like regurgitating up a bit of skull that he's just bitten off from someone and using it as a fucking missile that not only went through Rabbit Dog's nen, but also his hand, and then back out the other side, and then through his nen again into his skull and out the other side. Like the velocity of which that was fucking traveling is ridiculous. Like it would have, I don't even know, unless would he have been able to do that as an enhancer? He might have been able to. You see, because I don't think if you're an enhancer, yet you're able to imbue a projectile with nen and then shoot it, right? I don't think that's what an enhancer could do. So, I mean, he could. Well, he said that he's an enhancer, right? But he could, he could be one of the other ones as well. He could be like, at least versed in one of the other classes, I guess. It would have had to have had some nen attached to it, because it still would have had to have gone through. Because only like nen can go through nen, right? You can't just have like, if something's traveling at like the speed of light, but it isn't imbued with nen, would it technically be able to go through nen, or would it be stopped? I don't know what the rule is on that, but I thought that we were told that nen is basically only stopped by nen. So I don't know what the rules are and with that, but anyway, yeah, completely underestimated him anyway. And just the fact that like not even just that, but his whole body, you might as well be made of fucking steel. When Worm like basically punched him and then broke his fingers, you know what I mean? It's just crazy. So yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the numbers. I'm trying to think like back, like Bleach. Generally, I thought the idea was that like the numbers represented not only like how high you were like in the hierarchy. I don't know. I don't even know if that's the case in the Phantom Troupe. Aside from the chief, I don't know if there's like sort of like a second in command or someone who's, if they're higher up in the hierarchy. I don't even know if they have one. But generally, I think the idea was that the closer you are to like number one or whatever would be you'd be stronger, right? So I don't know if it works in that way. So I'm just gonna write down the numbers as I see them. So Uvo being 11. Did we know how many were in the Phantom Troupe? I feel like there's close to 11. There's got to be somewhere around there. But I mean, let's just say for like, you know, hypothetically, if the numbers do relate to how strong a character, like they are in relation to each other, then Uvo would be near the weakest if that is the case, which is nuts. And Hisoka's supposed to be 4, right? I mean, I can only assume there has to be some relevance to the numbers. Otherwise, I just think there's no point. You know, like, otherwise, why don't they all just have spiders on their back and not have a number there? So I feel like there has to be some relevance to it. I don't know. But yeah, I wrote down the rabbit dog that he secretes like fucking tranquilizers. It doesn't really matter at this point because they've just been decimated, so it's not like they're coming back and it doesn't really matter. But yeah. I find it interesting, like rabbit dog, like, so he secretes essentially like the fact that he can just, you know what I mean, that where does that come from? Like, that can't be a natural thing. You know, I mean, it could be. It's just that, like, you see, this is like the same sort of problem I had. I think I mentioned it like directly after like the first arc, when they finished the hunter exam, and I was saying like how I want like world building, and I want to see like what is possible in this world. You know what I mean? But even though we're up to episode 44, which is, you know, we're getting up to like you know, a third of the way through, and I feel like I'm still in the dark about a lot of things that's possible. Like, there are people like Worm that is clearly not like a fucking, like, he's not a human. He's just a fucking, like, this weird blob creature. Because I'm just thinking, like, to what degree, like, I don't feel like that idea of rabbit dogs secreting tranquilizers and stuff is a form of Nen. I just want to know, like, to what degree, like, where does it start? Like, what is there? There's got to be like other techniques, like other abilities that people use. It just must be that, right? And like, I don't think it's a natural thing that it like grew up with. It's like, oh well, you know, it's some relation. He's related to some kind of fucking demi-human that, you know, was some form of fucking snake. I don't know what bites and like secretes, because I feel like it would be like, yeah, spider, you know what I mean? Just the idea of being a rabbit dog, I mean, that's where the rabbit comes into it, you know what I mean? But it's not like rabies. I mean, it's fucking tranquilizer, you know what I mean? It just like stops you dead, which a lot of like, you know, snakes, basically venom type stuff does to you. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, there has to be something to just other techniques and things, because I mean, going back to what was her name? It was like Poco or something, wasn't it? Back in the Hunter exam arc, that she had just control of bees and stuff, you know what I mean? But then that can just be related to being a manipulator, right? I need to keep going back to these fucking just to fucking remember which ones. Yeah, manipulator, because you can control creatures and objects, so you'd have to assume that like people like Bobbin and Poco, whatever her name was, like they just knew Nen before going into the Hunter exam, and then therefore they can control creatures. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Could a conjurer make fucking tranks with I don't know. Yeah, chewing through Leech's skull. It just caught me off guard so much. Just biting through a skull. You know what I mean? It's nuts. I love the decision though to bring these guys in and then immediately like raise the stakes to like 10 times, you know? Like even like with the, you know, even with the Heavens Arena arc, like there was like, you know, the idea of Hisoka taking out that other guy. Can't remember the guy's name. The guy who had 3 different, like he was working on 3 different classes, right? Can't remember his fucking name. But yeah, when he was like against him and he took him out, and I was thinking like, oh my, did he actually kill him? Because he like embedded a fucking card into the guy's head, didn't he? Or was it in his heart? It was one of, I don't know, one of the two. But like when that happened, and I'm like, whoa, shit! Like even back in the Hunter exam when Hisoka literally decapitated a guy, but you didn't really see it. I kind of like the idea that it was hidden, and there was a lot of like censoring and stuff. It gets you so like, because it doesn't get you ready for anything, so that when you eventually do come across like the Phantom Troupe, that is a group that is supposed to be, I feel like the idea of a first impression is supposed to make a fucking impact, and the idea that they come in and literally they've wiped out God knows how many people. I feel like they've wiped out like already 3 figures, you know, and that's just like 3 of them, really. You know what I mean? Like 3 of them have already wiped out, and I don't know, you know, like how strong they are obviously compared to the rest of them that haven't fought yet and stuff, and just the idea of this group raising the stakes on such a fucking like, in such like on no notice at all. Like there wasn't like an amp up and then it happened. It was literally just bang, and like people were dying left and right, and you're seeing like you're seeing horrific shit. You know, this is like yeah, this is crazy. So yeah, Melody with the sort of common flute. I did mention a bit during the reaction. I wonder to what like how does she have access to different tunes to, like, you know what I mean, for different sort of effects. So is there one to send people to sleep? I'd imagine that would probably be like almost a given, because that seems to be her generally like her sort of ability and her like power in a way, you know what I mean? Like she's not a physical fighter. I'm pretty positive of that, unless it purposely just hasn't shown it yet, and she does like have some merit of it. But I remember when they were in the mansion and whatnot, like Melody was on purpose like keeping away, a bit like what Bezier was doing, because she obviously her power came with like, you know, kissing a subject, and then they would, you know, she would get them to fight for her, so she was like doing the same. You know, so I feel like her sort of ability of calming, sort of like, you know, playing music to do different things. I have to assume that it goes past just calming something, right? Like there has to be more to that. So I have to assume that there's more. So sending people to sleep, I don't know to what other regard, like what else, like to confuse people maybe. I'm just thinking of like all of like the different like effects like in Pokemon, and just thinking that she probably has a song for each of those. You know what I mean? I guess you can't. I don't know if you can really play a song to poison somebody. Although she was talking about the Dark Sonata, which, you know, if you hear it, it literally destroys you and just fucking, you know, eviscerates you. So fucking God knows. It feels like that, you know, the capabilities are endless. The possibilities. So yeah, we had the one girl who, for God's sake, I haven't written a fucking name down, or have I? Machi, was that it? I think it might have been Machi. The one that helped out Hisoka first, and that's where we first met her. But yeah, she used a thing to trace Uvo. So yeah, depending on where they go and like where they take him, that could be bad. I hope they're not thinking of taking him back to fucking the mansion, because that's literally what you want to avoid, is not getting Neon involved in this shit. You know what I mean? I mean, even if like even right now, if they are like completely unaware that Uvo is being traced, right, I still wouldn't take him there. You know what I mean? Because you don't know what other abilities these people have got. Like, they could just have a tracking ability. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like, especially what's his name? God, there's getting so many people now. I'm trying to fucking it's tough to keep up with all the names. I do have it here. Begins with a Z. Why can't I fucking... Where is it? Dalzaline, yeah, the head bodyguard guy. Like, his like sole thing is been keeping her out of danger. So he's got to think like, yeah, we don't want to bring him here. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I feel like Kurapika, while he was calmed, and that's another thing. Like, I don't know with melodies, like how long does that last? Does it only calm you to give the person enough time to realize what they're doing and be like, oh yeah, I do have to stay calm, or what? Because even then at the end, when Kurapika was tightening it, like, he was getting angry again. So, you know, but like, my point is, I feel like Kurapika, when he's cool headed, like, he's not an idiot. So I would think that Kurapika will at least not be stupid enough to take him back there, and the possibilities of being traced anyway. So it could be a case of like they're purposefully grabbing him to take him somewhere to lead them into a trap. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, chain jail is what it's called. And I love the idea of it being a condition so that it ends up being like much stronger than it actually is because of because of like, it's almost like a contract put on it. So I have to assume this is the Hatsu, right? The Hatsu part of like Nen as a whole, like, because it's Hatsu's the one to act on it, right? And like the will of it. So I've got to assume that that's a part of it. Like, that's what like a lot of Hatsu is like. I would love to know, like, I would love to know to what's like how do you activate that? Like, how would you say it? Like, right, so I've got these chains. It's got to be the will to act, right? Which is Hatsu. That just has to be it. So is it based entirely upon Kurapika doing that, or is there like some sort of like ritual thing that he has to do, like with the chains, and like, it's just weird, like how like, because it's like betting your, it's like basically like, it's like offering your soul to the devil. Like, I feel like that there's something there. Now, I don't think in this show, I don't think it's anything like religious. I think it's just based around like the sort of the energy of the world that allows them to do this, or what that allows them to just take a contract. Like, there has to be like some force that clearly like allows them to do this kind of stuff, and to what degree. Like, how far can you really take it? You know what I mean? It's strange. And I'm positive, like, correct me if I'm wrong, and I do apologize if this has been explained and I've completely missed it, but you know, like, basically the info dump of Nen and everything that was involved in that was like very compact, and it felt like there was a lot of information to take in regarding it. But I feel like it is Hatsu. That I think I'm correct in that regard. But if it has been mentioned, then let me know, and you know, thanks if that is the case. But if not, then, and like, maybe it's explained later that, like, you know, reasons why this can be done and stuff. Maybe we actually get like a first-hand look at maybe Gon or Killua like creating something similar, which would be nice. Or maybe Kurapika, like, I don't know, maybe we'll get a flashback of Kurapika like going through it, the whole thing. But yeah, so the condition is that you can only use it on the Phantom Troupe, and if he was to use it on anybody else, then he would die. So, like, I think the idea is like, it's almost like equivalent exchange in a way, right? Like, the risk of, like, you know, like, I'm only allowed to use this on the Phantom Troupe. And also, I think the subtitle was like, I'm only allowed to use them like to to chain them up, right? Yeah, it's like a self-imposed restriction, a covenant with myself. No other purpose. The power to capture and restrain. That's just related to the chains, right? So, like, theoretically, there's nothing wrong with him capturing and restraining a Phantom Troupe member, and then I doubt this would happen, but with his other hand, like, just have a knife and just stab him in the head. Like, that would be fine, right? I feel like this is just tied to the chain itself. I can see this becoming like a thing later on where it'll be like for some other reason, like it'll be someone different, someone who isn't Phantom Troupe, like oh fuck, what about Hisoka though? Because Hisoka's not Phantom Troupe, is he? Oh, I don't know if that's, could that be like a, oh see, because I don't know if that could be like a loophole kind of thing where Hisoka, in Hisoka's mind, he's not Phantom Troupe. But to everyone else, like, it would be. You see, that's the thing, like, what would determine that? And I don't know if I should really be asking these questions, like, am I just digging into something that you never get an answer to and it's really kind of pointless? And it's just like, I should just really be thinking of it as, look, it's just there, that's how it works, that's it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if I should really be digging into these questions. But, like, because there's two ways that could work. Either it's completely based upon, like, because there would have to be like a higher sort of like I keep referring to like the energy of the world because I don't know what's like what I don't know what it is, like I don't know what to really describe it as, like the manner of the world, I don't know, but like that would have to have some like cognitive, like maybe like thought or some intelligence to be able to figure out that, you know, for like, right, let's say this, right? So Kurapika uses his change to capture and restrain Hisoka. Now, if it was the case that the manner of the world or the energy of the world or whatever had like some type of intelligence, that it would realize that Hisoka is not actually Phantom Troupe, and then therefore Kurapika would die, right? So that's like exhibit 1, right? That's what could happen in one scenario. But the second one would have to be that it would only work if Kurapika is like certain that the guy's Phantom Troupe. So if he like has in his mind like that guy's Phantom Troupe, even if he isn't, then it might still work, and that could also work in a loophole. But I mean, depending on whether it's completely based upon whether Kurapika knows the truth, because I don't think he can really, unless like you erase that like that from your memory, like there's no way to really change your certainty of, because if you know that they're not Phantom Troupe, then you can't force yourself to think otherwise, right? That's interesting. That's interesting. I don't know about that, but yeah. Interesting topic. Maybe it'll come at like that's what I was saying. Like I can imagine that being the case later on. Like it could either be that with Hisoka. Hisoka's probably the more likely for that to happen actually. But like let's just say like I don't know, later on, maybe when the Phantom Troupe are dealt with, there's a guy who isn't Phantom Troupe, and if he gets away, something bad will happen or something, and it's like, oh shit, like, you know what I mean? Do I use it and I kill myself and sacrifice myself for it, or am I just forced to leave it, you know? I don't know. It's interesting though. But yeah, that's cool. very good episode. So yeah, I'm interested where this is going. Also, if you can hear the fucking drill, apologise for that. But yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I've linked certain things. One of them is the Discord. If you want any information regarding my content, you can get yourself over there. I also have a Patreon as well. So if you're interested in any of that, then link is down there as well. There's a bunch of different tiers and rewards depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's the early access tier, $5 a month, gives you access to shows a week early, and you get 4 episodes of Hunter x Hunter every week. That's 2 on Monday and 2 on Friday. And there's the full length tier there as well. Of course, these ones have been full length because of like lack of time and stuff like that, but that will be changing at some point. I don't know when. So just enjoy the full length on the early access and everything like that as of right now. There's other tiers on there as well if you want to have a look at those. But yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.